Let's get the sound going. Hello viewers. Hello viewers. So here we are then. Little bit of GT Sport weekly race action and learning. I'm just going to raise this slightly, it's just in my field of view, and then we'll learn how to drive this car. I've done a lap already just to try and figure out how to drive it. I've watched the top guys and you know they're really good at it, aren't they? I'm way off at the moment, so dial that down a bit. It's a bit bright, it's blinding me. And I'll just bring your chat up on the screen so I can deal with that. And whoa, we got a hey. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start again. We got some on there. Hi. We've got Coke. Hi guys. So let's just retry that because otherwise we'll waste a lap. So let's get our head into gear. Let's do some laps. Then we've got to learn how to drive this car. First time driving this car. Just purchased it the other day. Did some laps yesterday to sort of inspect the course. And it's a car that you've got to be quite aggressive with. So definitely not a car that I'm sort of used to in the way it drives. It's very unusual. It has an extreme amount of downforce to it, but it has a loose rear end to an extent. Right, so that's not where you brake. We've got to find out where the braking point is, and then we'll get ourselves into race sort of mode, if you like. And then after that, as soon as we know where we're going, then we can get into a race and not come last every time. That's the goal. Carl is here. Hi Carl. Just going to increase the engine sound a bit. So a bit of engine sounds, a little bit of engine sound. And let's just try and lost it there, didn't we? You've got to be quite aggressive with this car. It's quite interesting to drive. And when I watch the top players on it, wow, do they know how to wring its neck? So for me, this is going to be a case of trying to understand how to drive it first before we do a race, so that then I can get in and figure out where the line is. And it's amazing when you see all the top players when they really know how to drive these cars and courses. I am nowhere in that sort of league, but just enjoying being competitive to an extent, but I don't want to beat myself by just simply coming in sort of like 203s every lap if we know we can get to 201s or you know faster. So we've got a lot of time to find before we can actually race. I could have lifted and controlled it there, but there was no point. We've not got the speed. Got to find the speed. So as soon as we get this lap sorted, we can go for a race. We've got to get it into the 2 minutes or 2:01s first. Otherwise, we'll just be qualifying at the back of the grid, and that's just not going to be. It's just going to be impossible getting anywhere, basically, unless you're sort of a super player. Let's get rid of that ghost. We know it's flat here. challenging trying to understand this car. It's got a strange rear end to it. Like I say, you've got all this impossible amount of grip on the front, and the rear just gets away from you very easily. Trying a different line round there, see if it worked any better for me, but very difficult to tell with that corner. It's a funny one to try and get right. So a bit of an afternoon Tuesday drive today. Tuesday. Doesn't feel like a Tuesday, obviously. It's half term for some of you maybe watching. The younger viewer, the one younger viewer. Let's just try and see if we improve here. Nowhere near fast enough at the moment, so this is going to be a challenge, viewers. If we change our brake balance to the back, see if that adds any difference to I just want to see how that alters the handling. Someone here, you sold out to Fanatec and Fanatec to Thrust. Oh goodness! Oh bloody hell! That rear brake bias isn't working for me, is it? Oh bloody hell! What's that? You sold? No, I've still got the Fanatec. It's right here, but I'm doing some rally driving, so the Thrustmaster for me is better with the Sparco rally rim and the rally gear stick, and that's why I'm using the Thrustmaster at the moment. It's also quite handy for changing over all the different types of rims. I have about 12 different types of Thrustmaster rim. I've only got the couple on Fanatec, so it just works out for me. Just trying to see what brake balance works better here, because when I turned it to the rear I got even more rear sort of instability. Just trying to keep it central now. See if we find it any better here. Seems better actually. Seems more balanced with the brake balance in the middle. Strangely. Focus on a better lap here. There. That's the lap ruined. Ruined. Might as well restart. No MotoGP coverage on the channel from us, no Jeff. You know, it's up to Milestone. They want to work with us, they can. If they don't, they won't. So nothing in the way of MotoGP coming, I'm afraid. We'll be focusing on other coverage instead, so hopefully soon we'll have some Formula 1 and we'll have some grid coverage, maybe some Crash Bandicoot as well. Besides that, hopefully some WRC coverage, hence the rally rim, and that will put us in a better position to do more stuff. But yeah, sadly nothing happening with Milestone these days. As with all of these games companies, you know, they all have sort of chosen sort of media they want to work with or influencers. We're just sort of not on that list at the moment. So it's like, well, that's fine. We'll just do Gran Turismo instead. And there's King Jeff. Hi James, I was watching your race earlier. Good action at Brands Hatch. I was lurking. I'm just having a look at race C at the moment and trying to find the speed. I'm quite a bit slower than Key was yesterday. I was watching him race and thinking, what? His car just goes faster than mine. Like a special go fast button. Oh, like there, the rear end just steps out. It's so frustrating. I just don't understand that. I'm in perfect line, good entry, get on the power. We've got faster laps. Ultimate Blister 2, well, that's in December, so we will, as ever, we'll contact Ritzia and see if we can get some coverage on that nearer the time. But, the trailer will go up on the channel, but that's about it. There's no gameplay for it yet. Went in through there in the wrong gear, but do you know what? Kind of worked for me for some reason. That's strange, isn't it? Let's try again. So yes, nothing in the way of MotoGP or MXGP this year, which is a shame because we've done quite a bit on it over the years, but got to get rid of that ghost, it's just right in my way. It's funny, when you watch sort of the top sort of A+ drivers on this track in this car, they really are super quick. And what it proves is that this car is a strange one in the sense that there are tactics to understanding how to be fast. Race B did look like a lot of fun. It's just that it depends greatly on where you qualify, doesn't it? I noticed that you were quicker than the guys in front, James, but they were, you know, it's so difficult in 5 laps to make a difference. I think that's the thing that's really challenging. 5 laps. Just give me a 10-lap race. Yes, Jeff. Yeah, that's the way it is now. You know, I mean, it's just one of those things, really. You know, some companies want to work with you, some don't. That's that, really. But, we cover what we can. I mean, all the games are covered on the website. I mean, we still cover the news. It's not like we can't cover the existence of games. It's just the fact that when it comes to me getting early access to them, you know, there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to get that access. Just not quick enough. I'm just not quick enough. Right, I'm going to have to go in and do the race anyway. I think sometimes I find I get good experience when I'm just doing the racing, you know. And maybe everyone else is going to just blow me away and I'll be in last place. Or maybe if I just keep going round and round, I'll just chip away at a few that go off the track, get a few penalties. Cannot find a way around that corner though. I mean, it's surprisingly unstable on that corner. You have to be very smooth in terms of your... Damn! Wheel spin scum. Right, let's try one more time. 203 is too slow. It's just too slow. Just cannot find the speed. Let's get rid of the ghost again. Come on, speed. Speed. Let's find some speed. Let's try flat. Let's try flat into this corner. I'm gonna go flat. Little lift. I felt the car going there. Felt the car going just then I turned in. I was like, oh, little lift to balance it. Good, we're ahead. We're ahead. Come on. Keep it tight. We're losing time. Scum. Guy's gaining on us. Come on now. At least get a better time. Quick enough though. I was hoping to be into the 2 minutes. Ah, damn. Right, let's see when the next race is then and get registered. Catch up with your messages for a second. Race B was fun. Yeah, it did look like fun actually. Let's see what we got on here as well. Thanks, End. Yeah, I mean we're going to get more into the podcast again at some stage. The podcast, really, the only problem with it is the time it takes to edit them. You know, sometimes when we're doing a podcast, it takes like an hour or two to get it all organised and done, and then it takes probably 8 hours to edit it and find all the different things we've talked about, put it all together and process it, and then it's a 12 gig file or something, and then you've got to upload that and do everything, and it just takes so long sometimes that when I'm out and about on other projects, it just doesn't get done. I mean, right now, you know, I've got to play Grid in the coming days and get some footage on that, and you'll see Formula 1. I'll be testing that. Like I say, maybe some Crash Bandicoot, trying a bit of that out. We've got some Redout coverage coming on the Switch, and I'm testing also other games that are coming. I should be getting some footage soon on the truck racing, which for me is like Gran Turismo but with trucks basically, and I'm hoping to get another hands on some new footage on WRC8, which is looking very nice indeed. What have I done there? Wait, exit. So yeah, lots to look forward to. Let's just see when the next race is. 8 minutes till race entry. Oh, have I just missed a race? I did just 6 minutes ago. It's all right. More practice required. Yeah, we've got some interesting races this week, haven't we? That one. See, these two, because they're only 4 and 5 laps, your qualifying time means everything there. So if you're going to qualify at like 15th, you're only going to make 2 or 3 places depending on people crashing off. So you really need to I need to do a longer race. That's generally why I do a longer race. Do the podcast live. The funny thing is we've talked about that, but podcasts are more relaxed discussions. Sometimes we talk about stuff, you know, perhaps I don't know. You've got to think about how you put yourself across on in real life, and I like a podcast to be a more relaxed chat. So sometimes we have to cut stuff. We've got inappropriate language or whatever. We have to cut it, and sometimes if it's difficult to just have a relaxed conversation because everything you say on the internet now, and you've got to be verified with it. You know, people will check everything you say, so it's better to prepare the podcast beforehand, you know, and then that way we can, you know, sort of look at it and say, oh well, probably shouldn't say that because it puts someone in a position or us in a position or something, whatever, or are we allowed to talk about this, or are we allowed to talk about that? Sometimes I see games long before you guys do. You know, I play games and then we're not allowed to talk about it until the media is allowed to talk about it. Same with everybody. I mean, you know, if there's a new racing game coming out, sometimes I'll play it months before you guys do. You know, I'll see the entire game, you know, but we have to wait until we can actually show it, talk about it. So with podcasts, it's good to also, I like it to be nice and natural, relaxed, you know. It's just where people can talk as they want to talk, and so our podcast can be like 2 hours long, and then we sort of put it together, and you know, you have loo breaks and everything else that goes on. I mean, technical problems. I mean, last podcast probably we were talking for 4 hours and we did 2 podcasts, and partially that was me singing, so it's not always appropriate stuff in a podcast behind the scenes. It's quite a different chat sometimes. And we got hello from Bernice in Hungary. Wow, really, thanks James. Yeah, I mean that's 4.5 hours of race B. That's on it. Why do you prefer bumper cam with a wheel? Quite a few reasons, really. Firstly, the cockpit cam doesn't have the manoeuvrability. You can't remove the hand. You don't always have mirrors. But take this car, for example. This car is actually okay. You have mirrors, but the problem is you're so rigid in the car that you can't turn your head. And I find that when I'm using the bumper cam here again, I can line my wheels up. I can look at the lines on the inside of the corners. When I'm karting, I'm driving along, and I'm leaning with my front wheel, looking at where I'm lining it up with the road. I'm looking at the apex. I'm looking at those tyres I'm going to miss by an inch or something. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at those points. Then I'm looking ahead. I'm looking at where I'm lining myself up. You can't do that with a cockpit cam. You're just like that. When you come to a corner, you're like that. You can't even turn your head because it's the sort of a rigid view. So in that sense, secondly, I don't need a wheel in front of me because I've got a wheel. So this is a wheel, this is my dashboard, and that's my windscreen in that sense. So it works quite well for me from a bumper cam perspective, providing the bumper cam is at the right height. And a lot of games, unfortunately, put the bumper cam at bumper level, not understanding the fact that it's supposed to be at driver height, and that's something I often moan about. Yeah, well, you do, James. Yeah, that's why a podcast, if you want it to be relaxed, if we want a proper relaxed podcast, it has to be pre-recorded, and it has to be done in a way that we just end up chatting. Because I often say to people, I'll say to Kevin, what did you think of this game? And Kevin will say, oh, well, I did this. And I'll say, hold on, save it for the podcast. So then we don't want to hear what each other has to say, so that we can talk about it in a podcast, and I can talk about different games and stuff like that. Project Cars 2 does have a helmet cam, and I like the cockpit cam in Assetto Corsa and Drive Club, Project Cars 2. Great cams and stuff like that. Where you can move the cam, you can set it the way you want. Gran Turismo is very much like you're in the back seat. Because when you're in a car, your eyes are looking down the road. You're looking at road signs, you're looking at traffic lights, you're looking at all these things here. All this that goes on in the car is the only time you look at your thing, if there's a speeding limit and you're like, oops, just get it below 30, 29.5 mile an hour, that's fine, or something, just being sensible, as long as you're there. Otherwise you're not really looking inside the car. Your attention is always outside, and it's the same with the racing stuff, really. My attention is down the windscreen, basically. So when you see a cockpit cam and it's got clear vision of the bottom of your steering wheel, well, you don't see the bottom of the steering wheel. Your peripheral vision takes in your dash. Barely even see the top of your steering wheel. You have to look at your steering wheel to look at the steering wheel. VR, love VR. I'm looking forward to Gran Turismo on PS5 with PSVR. It's going to be awesome. I think that's going to be a great experience. I think we need high resolution headsets. I think we need, proper 4K headsets to make it feel more it's easier on the eyes. I think we want to get rid of motion sickness. You can, but not enough, and you can't remove the hands, Kanga. You can't remove the hands, but you can remove some details, but not very much. It's not a proper field of view change, that's for sure. Assetto Corsa has proper field of view options, and that's really what you need. So yeah, and also when you're racing, you're never going to race from a view that's, I can get it sort of halfway to where I want it. No, rubbish. You either get it to where you want it to be competitive, or you race from a different view. And so in this sense, some people race from the roof cam on the car. So a lot of the top drivers race from the roof cam, and they race from that cam because it gives them a wider field of the road. They can see the edges of the cars. They can see over blind crests, whereas I can't. So on some tracks like Fuji, those who drive from the roof have a big advantage. You say, why don't you change view all the time in a race? So it's very difficult, because when you change view, You change your braking points. That point that goes past your eye, that's where you're braking. You're looking at details. Whereas when you suddenly change the view and it changes to the sort of fisheye lens a little bit, it just alters those braking points, and suddenly you're flying off into the bushes. Crash Team Racing cockpit view. No, Crash Team Racing is behind car, and that's where it needs to be. So Crash Team Racing is Crash Team Racing, works great, you know, and I look forward to trying that if we get a copy. So here we have a grid start. Let's see, when's the next race? 15 minutes. So we're just going to enter this when it becomes available, and we'll see from that. So yeah, Crash Team Racing is next, and then we'll see what other games we can get our hands on. Truck racing, looking forward to playing that, just trying it out. Big trucks, big rigs, and of course rallying, hence why we have the Thrustmaster wheel here, because I want to whack on the Sparco and the handbrake, and then get into some rallying. I'm going to be producing some rally preview videos. We've been getting there with views as well. You know, we I should hit 40 million views this year, which is nice. You know, we're not the biggest racing YouTube channel, but you know, it's a solid result, and it's taken a long time to get there, a lot longer than other people, but getting there. So nice to still have the access. But yeah, access to games, new games, is always a challenge, guys. You know, you're either in the good books of a publisher, or you're not in the good books, in which case, you know, you get invited or you don't. But generally speaking, most of the games companies out there, you know, they allow us to make good objective content, for sure. You know, they know we make objective content. Some publishers are less keen on it than others, but you know, I say it as I see it, and I say, you know, if I can't say a game's good when it's not good. Can't say I like it. I mean, I like Gran Turismo. Yeah, I don't like the penalty system. Is great in the sense that the way it's been invented, it's got issues, so I raise the issues now and again, but that doesn't mean I don't like the game. It's great. The handling speaks to me. I get the handling on Gran Turismo, and I enjoy the racing. I really feel like I'm part of the racing. Early access, it takes time, you know. I mean, you got to remember, I've worked in video games for 25 years this year, and I've been getting early access to video games for 25 years. So I was there at the beginning. I mean, the first game I got a world preview on was Daytona USA on the Sega Saturn, which a month before it came out in Japan, got my first access, and it was terrible. It was the worst looking game you've ever seen. The final game looked ropey. The early build was dreadful, absolutely dreadful. So yeah, I mean, I've been quite lucky, but it's just about being committed and consistent. The problem is that when you're a streamer or you're setting up and you say, I want to be a streamer, I want that to be my job, what happens is that you've got to be committed to it for ages. You've got to invest in it, all the equipment you need, and then people contact publishers too soon. I mean, there are people out there who make one video on YouTube that's a bit crap, and then they contact a publisher saying, give me games. It just doesn't work like that. You've got to deliver, prove you can deliver content regularly to your viewer base. You know, once you prove you can do that and you're committed to it, and then what happens is that people get a game early, and suddenly their views go up, and they're like, oh wow, I'm getting millions of views, and they think I've done it, you know, that's it now. And I often say to people, as soon as that game comes to its end, those views literally disappear, and they do. I would say it's very rare. Literally, Jimmy Broadbent is probably one of the very few YouTubers who I had this conversation with as it happens, and he did make it. But there's a lot of YouTubers I've spoken to over the years that have tried, and afterwards they've just sort of given up in the end, because though there were periods where they thought, I'm on it, it's happening, magic's happening, it's a little bit of a tease. YouTube can be a little bit of a tease. They make you feel like you're getting somewhere, and then they just control it. And depends who's flavour of the week, who's marketing where, and you just have to. What happens then is that something changes in you, right? So back in 2013, I reached a point where VVV wasn't growing the way I wanted it to be, and I was really disappointed one day. And you know, I said to my mum at the time, I said, you know, doing this YouTube thing and it's just not happening for me. And she said, well, stop doing it and do something else with your life then. Stop moaning about it. And I was like, oh, I like doing it. Well, don't do it because of the numbers then. Do it because you like doing it. And that was the best advice I had. And so now, if a video gets, sometimes you work really hard in a video and it gets barely 1,000 views and you're like, oh, do you know, I wish it got more. I wish I had more subscribers or it went a bit more. But I don't do it for that. I have to do it with a good heart because I enjoy racing and I enjoy doing what I'm doing. And I just do it because of that. And the rest come what may, really. And that's basically it. It's just a nice opportunity to share it. And if bonuses come out of it and you get to play new games or test real racing cars, I mean, I've been very lucky in the sense that I've had some wonderful access, then great. But if it doesn't, just make good content with a good heart and put it out there, you know. I mean, sometimes it's tough because sometimes you get like abuse from idiots online or people just having a go because there is this sort of like feeling that if you make YouTube videos, you're putting yourself in the line of fire to get grief off people. And I've never been that type of person. I've already understood that point of view. I just feel like, you know, you're sharing something with people. People aren't paying for it. You know, it's something you've put your time into and people can enjoy for free. You know, and that's great. And if you don't enjoy it, you're not invested in it. You watch something else then, you know, rather than giving YouTubers grief. So that's wrong gear there, wasn't I? Damn. Not a bad time though. So yeah, I was going into a bit of a rant about it all there, wasn't I? I mean, that's another thing about my channel is, you know, the most part, a lot of very popular YouTubers really do appeal to a younger audience as well. And because I'm sensible, I don't swear my head off, I'm not crazy in any way, I do it in a sort of deadpan way. I suppose my training came from doing real television, because years ago I used to do various TV shows and that told me I swear like a trooper when I play games off camera. I really do. I mean, when people talk to me sometimes and they think, oh God, you're a bit different, Alan, to your persona. And I remember a couple of YouTubers saying that to me a few years ago. I think it was, TC9700 and AR12 and Black Panther. And when they met me in person, they realised I'm actually don't take any of it seriously at all. And it's all a bit of fun to me. And that's why I've liked streaming a bit more, because at least when you do videos, you get into a mode. So you get into hello viewers, and here we are then looking at Gran Turismo, and we're in robot talking mode. Car's pushing hard here into spoon curve, and it goes down 2 gears. There we are. And so you get into your kind of robot commentary mode, which is like a work mode, if you like. So when you're out and about and you're doing interviews with people, sometimes you're pretty nervous, yeah, bricks, but you just got to get into mode. Camera turns on, and now I'm joined by racing driver, Formula 1 driver, rally driver, whatever. And afterwards you look back on it with a kind of thrilled excitement that you managed to get through it without bottling it. But I've had various situations where cameramen have got nervous and all kinds of stuff. It's not easy when you start about doing that sort of chat. So we're into 202s there. It'd be nice if we could actually manage that in the race. I think the race is going to be a bit more controlled in terms of the speed. I think we're going to be a bit slower, lifting a bit more. I sort of wonder whether for the race at times it's better to use some traction control. I don't think I'm consistent on the circuit, so there's highly likely that I'm going to bin it at some point, and so we're up on our lap, so that's good. Lost a lot of time there though, didn't we? Didn't quite get into that corner well enough. And that's because sometimes when you're pumping the brake, you can turn into a corner quicker in Gran Turismo, but it's a little bit more difficult to do with a foot pedal sometimes. Friendly TV, Razor remembers me from. Yeah, so back in 2003, did my first TV show. Now that was pretty nerve-wracking. That was essentially live streaming before the internet did live streaming, and we had 100,000 people watching us. So, you know, back then TV was a bit more established than it is today, and so there weren't many game shows on. There was us, and there was what else was there? Gamesville, wasn't there, on Sky One? And I got to know the producer on that quite well. Should have had me on it. But you know, it was 24, 25 back then, you know, different times. So there's definitely it's been a journey. It's been a journey. My goodness, got 4 minutes. I have to have a loo break. I think. Have a break for a second. Here we are, viewers. Here we are, ready for another race. I'm just going to leave you for a moment, and I'll be straight back, and then we'll be ready for the race. And more chat. So hold on. Oh, we can't do a replay. Well then, I'll see you in just a moment, viewers. Here we go. Let's just do this business. And Bosch, I'll be right back. Okay, back again, viewers. Back again, and ready for the race in 2 minutes. So let's see where we are. I think it's good to improve the lap a little bit there. I'm still sort of like, I'm still about a second behind what I know I can get, you know. I've definitely got 2 minutes in me. I may even have a 1:59, but I'm just not very good over one lap, you know. I always find that when I do this, I just struggle to get more than a sort of okay time. I get quite tense when I'm doing various. Let's bring up chat here. Tense when I'm doing the various sort of practice sessions, you know, and it's I just tense up a bit. And it's weird when I'm racing. I feel quite relaxed, but like then I put in a better time because I was talking to you guys, not thinking about the actual racing. That's the thing. So let's just tweet this out there, and then we're good to go. Let's see. Right, hold on then. So let's just get this ready, and then we're ready to go. I'm just giving my stream a bit of a retweet, and see if I can just give that a retweet, and then we're good to go. Good to go. Okay, so what we got here viewers wise, it's funny, the viewer information is never as accurate now on Restream as it used to be. It's getting darker, so it looks like it's going to be a bit of a storm in a moment, no doubt. Can't see the old steering wheel very well, but it's there. Oh, we're going into the lobby now. Oh, there's some mix of racers here. Look at me, 16th place. Oh my goodness, I just can't seem to qualify high enough. What is that all about? I mean, look at that. I've got people doing 158s in this room. I mean, 158 is like best time in the world. Ah, well. Some good players in here, aren't there? Some good players. Oh, well, so that's it really. I've got to just try and go round and round and see if I can do my best. There's no music now. Give you a bit of music before we start. I've had to turn all the music off due to copyright issues. Right. Let's see how we get on. Time to race, guys. Time to race. Let's have a warm up. Bit of a warm up. Get cozy. I'll have to find a new livery for this car. I haven't put a proper one on yet. I just bought it yesterday and thought, right, let's get out there. So warm up, so of course everybody starts flashing each other the moment they get out of the pits. Let them go. See, everybody's like on it there, aren't they? And everyone's just going to take each other out anyway. We've got 3 Spanish guys there who are just excited. They're excited for the race. Oh, goodness me, the rear end on this car. There we go then. Excitement, viewers. 10 laps of thrilling excitement and power. Nobody's talking to me. I'm lonely. Nobody's talking. Talk to me, viewers. I'm going to ignore you anyway now because I'm going into the race. So there. Got 4 people watching on Twitch today. 5 now. Look at that. Goodness. Twitch is a funny old site. I sometimes wonder if I should stream to just... Oh, it's a standing start. I don't know if we need... if we need traction on or not. Damn, I don't know. I haven't been... Right, we're going to put the brake on and just see. We will anyway. Without traction would have been better. I'm going to have to do a standing start test. Taking it a bit tentative because the car never handles exactly the same in the race as it does. He's going for it, he's going for it, I can see that, he's committed. He was committed then and it slowed us right down, didn't it? I think he's right beside me. He is. It's a bit of a shame. Had to slow down a bit there. Didn't quite know what happened there. Did somebody go off or? Oh, fuck it. Ah, that's it, done. Done. Let's mess the wheel up. Ah, well, that was that then. Not much I can do. And that's me last. Ah, it's a bit of a shame. I was actually enjoying the race and I wasn't really pushing then because I thought, hey, it will come back to me later, but that's my race basically over there. Oh, it feels like such a waste of time now. I've got to do 8 laps in last place now. It's a real pain. Damaged my tyres really badly as well. I mean, it might not look it on the graph, but when you have a big slide like that, it really smashes your tyres. I'm 24 seconds behind the leader now, so just going to have to go round and round and got no more speed. Tyres are ruined. Kind of put me off there. He's gaining on me. And I got a sportsmanship down for some reason there. I don't quite understand why, but story of my race at the moment. So I started in 16th and I'm currently in 16th. .8 seconds behind the car in front. Don't think we'll catch them. It's the shame there. No, they're actually pulling away. Who's the chap who finished behind me? Had to brake a bit earlier just to avoid him. Better to just hang back now really and see what happens. just getting a bit held up here. It's only subtly, but on the bright side, I think again it proves that we're sort of out of place in qualification, because I think had we qualified higher, we'd had a better chance of doing well. Lucky I didn't go in, eh? I'd have been knocked wide then. I've got slipstream now. Made a mistake there, but got away with it. You know, it always amazes me that all these guys are technically quicker than I've ever been, and yet their lap times in race are never as quick as their qualifying. It's so weird. I'm absolutely destroying my tyres here. So it could be quite an exciting end, viewers. What are we up? 9 of 10 in 13th place. Be nice to finish 10th, wouldn't it? He's aware I'm here now, I can tell you that. It's a good little battle happening here. We're all kind of slowing each other a little bit now. I've just caught onto the end of it, so this will affect my lap. It's, this guy's really holding me up now, and it's affecting me quite a bit. He's holding on. Slowing me down quite a bit there. Can't find a way past, so it's kind of made me just a bit of braking and no desperate lunges. I mean, if the opportunity comes up, we'll take it, but if not, then at least I'd say we've done the best we can. We could have actually gone for it there. I just lifted a bit because I thought, no, I don't want to. I've been knocked off into the gravel before, and that's not what I want to do. Oh, well. There we go. There we go. Did the best I could, but alas, it was not enough. So we'll see. Game Gun doesn't know where our gloves. You know, it's personal preference, guys. Personal preference. I mean, I've mentioned many times, but it protects the material on the wheel, and since I started using them, it just kind of gets me in the zone now as well. So it's just kind of a part of getting into the racing zone. Did my best. Alas, I'm taken out. I'm quite pleased with my performance, really. Shame the guy took me out, because I think we could have ended up with a top 5 finish there. But what we've proved is our time is not good enough. So we've got to try and improve that qualifying time. All right then. So yeah, that was a bit disappointing. That was. I don't know who took me out. But, I'll have a look later because I just want to put them on the list. Right. Some people better. Yeah, some people are great with controllers. I mean, honestly, some of the best players out there use controllers. Lots of A+ players. We had Matt MGS. Afternoon, Alan. Old Grid had amazing replays. The old Grid had amazing replays. So certainly this version might do too. Should we have another go just in a race? Just try learning the course in a race, maybe. Even though we're going to qualify at the back, we can have a go. One more race maybe, or shall we do some qualifying? What do you think, guys? What do you think? Let me know. Let's see, that was a bit disappointing, that race, wasn't it? Just to get taken out. I mean, we were working our way up, but it's so hard overtaking. That's the problem, you know. Overtaking is not easy. You need someone to make a mistake, or you need to be quite a bit quicker. We'll do some quali, I think. Just chill out for a bit. It's quite stressful doing all the racing. Let's do some quali. Yeah, I mean, I think that some players, I mean, you can play this game great with a controller. I should do some controller play on Gran Turismo one of these days, just to see if I think I said earlier, Matt. Yep, there's no reason why that we shouldn't have great replays on Grid. Last one of the great replays. I think this one will do as well. I'm going to see if I can put in a better lap. Or if I can just put in a slightly better lap and it moves me up to sort of 10th, it's something. But you've got guys up there doing 158s. I don't even know how they do that, you know. It's just another... The funny thing is that I get into a race, and in that race I felt like I was quicker than a lot of the other drivers, you know. I mean, even when I went down to 18th, I got back up through the order a bit from like way behind. And I think that if I can just qualify a bit higher... No. Just got a wheel too wide there. Let's try again. Flat viewers. And we'll see if we can extract some more speed from the car. I do like and subscribe as well. It supports what we do. Always got to poke that out there. We had an idea there. We had an idea. It didn't all work out. We're going to try again. We've got to go flat. The only way to get this lap time, viewers, is to go flat. Meaningfully flat. Alright, not that flat. I've got to try and find some speed. This is the point of the track where I'm really struggling. Is these chicanes and just a couple of corners where I just don't know how everyone else seems to pull away a bit, and they just seem to get on the power. Got to do this flat. I've just got to. Just too much speed. Rear end overtook me. Such a shame. Come on, let's give it some more speed. Faster. Faster. Too slow, just not good enough. Only hard tyres, so, and I just don't have the lap time speed. No, I just don't have it. I just don't have the lap time speed. This is so frustrating. I just can't get... It feels so pointless when you're only qualifying in the last sort of 4 places. And then you go into the race and everybody's a second a lap slower than you. And you're thinking, well, how can they be doing 159s in practice and then they're doing 203s in the race? It's crazy. I just never understand that about the whole qualifying system. It's weird, isn't it? It's just weird. Carrying more speed in the corner, hence needing to brake earlier there. Just can't find that extra speed that top players seem to find, you know. It's like DDS is here. Hello, DDS. Who knows? Who knows, Rudolph? Who knows? Okay. Okay. Let's try again. Try again. Spins out every time I touch that apex, but you need to touch the apex to get a good apex on the next section. So what I'm doing is sort of overdriving the car intentionally to see if I can find a corner where I was lifting and I don't need to. That's what I'm trying to do right now. Just a bit too much wheel spin. Now the wheel spin started before I got on the power. Just turned in too quickly into the corner and the rear end came around. Yes, Ford, I've sorted out the picture, so it's back to normal now. We tried something out, didn't work. So... a little bit better, but not enough. A little bit better, but not enough. Lap wasted. Damn, I wish I knew what to do there. Do you know what I mean? I wish I knew the tactic that got people through so quickly through that corner. Round for another lap. So I will just, don't know if it's worth doing any more practice on this. We might have a look at the FIA race as well. Maybe we won't today because I'd like to have one more race maybe and then call it a day. What time is it? Okay, so if we do one more race at 4 o'clock, at least we've achieved what we can for the day, but our lap time is not good enough. You know, we're 1 second at least behind where we need to be to have a grid slot that isn't just in the bottom 5. The hairpin street, the whole track is tricky actually in these cars. It really is a tricky car to drive. It has an enormous amount of front end grip, but the rear can lose it. And then that's it, your whole lap is just wasted. I'm struggling with that corner because you turn into it, and if you touch the curb the rear steps out, so you don't want to hit the apex, you just want to get as close to it as possible without touching it, and that's the difficult part about that corner. So it's tricky, viewers, it's tricky. The whole track is tricky. Yeah, so showing back that last race, I think, you know, again, it was just a matter of coming back and trying to see if we can and a bit more speed. Ah, so frustrating. For me, it's a combination, but it's the car is tricky in the sense that whatever tyres you use, it will have a rear end that's quite loose. But these tyres sort of emphasise that because they don't have that much grip. So, though the car has a lot of downforce, the grip from the rear is a bit light in the corners. Turn that off for a minute. A little break in just a moment. Last lap. Nah. Oh, it was a bit of time though. It was a bit of time. Another half second. Another half second. Let's have a little break then now. So at least it's something. Do you know? I think we're sort of half a second above where we were, aren't we? Half a second above where we were, which is something. Have a break for a few minutes now. I'm going to stretch my legs in a moment before the next race because I'm a bit crunched in here for hours at a time. Just put that on for a minute and just turn it down a bit so you guys can hear me. Because replays are always louder than the racing. Right. Yeah, Bobsy, you know, it's one of those things that it's easier said than done. The trouble is that you're trying to do that and you're turning in, and then the back end is standing out. So it's very difficult for you know, all the way around the track. Like take here, right? You're going into this corner, and this corner here, and this is flat through this corner, and then you're braking down to third, and you're looking at the outside to accelerate towards that cone. Got it wrong there, obviously, so lost 2/10. And then here, you don't want to touch that curb because it will spin you out, nibbling it. I lifted a bit then, but you're supposed to take it flat. Here, they took it in flat, top drivers, but I've not been able to achieve that every single time I've done it. Here, of course, you're flat through here, and then you're flat through the next right-hander in a moment. So this is a flat corner, flat. And then I wasn't doing flat, and then braking down to third for me. Wasn't braking early enough because I was carrying more speed. It was affecting my braking. And then here, obviously, you've got to get this right. If you're good at pumping the brake, you can get the car to turn in a bit better. But struggles a little bit with this car. You're kind of weird because you want to get on the power earlier because it way the downforce works. You can drive out of the corner better. And then I'll just finish this lap forward, and then come up to spoon again here. You know, you're looking for the apex, fourth gear, trying to accelerate towards the outside curb, and then down. It's a late corner here. I turned in just a bit early there, got a bit of oversteer, and then that just delayed me getting on the power, so I lost another tenth or two through there. So knowing where the problems are is easy. I could go around the whole lap and tell you where all the time is, but actually doing it, you know, you get to that corner and the car behaves sometimes a bit unpredictably flat through there. And then here, this is a judgment call depending on the tyre marks in the floor basically, and perhaps I'm braking a bit too early, but I'm not getting any speed there, so very difficult to say the best way through that. I think I'm losing a tenth through the final chicane and keeping it tight to the wall to try and minimise the line, distance to the line. So we lost half a second, so we've definitely got a 159 in us. 159 is there, viewers, but you know, it's gonna be challenging trying to find that half a tenth. You know, it's a lot of laps, and I ain't got time to do that this week, guys, because I've got a lot of other stuff on. So I don't know if I mean, I want to try and get on. I don't think I'll even be on for the. Maybe I'll be on for the FIA tomorrow. I haven't done any practice on the FIA races. Really, I should, but you know, we'll do this race, I guess. It's better to watch some racing, isn't it? It'd be nice to get a good race result rather than you know, anything else. So it's a tricky track, you know, tricky track, guys. It's you know, that's why, you know, as I was saying a minute ago, you know, when you're racing other guys that put in really good laps, it's sometimes surprising to see that they're 2-3 seconds a lap slower, because they've got limits that are beyond my limits. You know, they're taking corners at flat out. I've never taken flat, so it's quite strange to see some of them lifting so much in the actual race. And don't get me wrong, it's a very different car in the race. You know, you got fuel, you got tyres, you got all this going on. So, you know, it's quite interesting to see my little man bouncing around in the car there. Red Bull Junior car. It does feel very much like a Formula race, though, in its own way. It's a shame there's not a bit more strategy, there's not a bit more emphasis on tyres or fuel in this race. I think that would have added to it as well. As it is, it's just a flat race to the finish, basically. This would have made a good sort of B race rather than a C race, which I always like a little bit of strategy in there, because I think strategy brings more to you as a driver. You know, you're thinking about your fuel, you're thinking about your tyres. You know, it just adds a bit more to strategy and judgment call to try and make the difference in strategy as well as racing. Whereas this is very much a flat to the finish. So qualifying on this, if you're qualifying in the top 5, all going well, you'll finish in the top 5. So it's competitive, viewers, competitive. So Ford was asking what I made of F1 this weekend. Yeah, I enjoyed it actually. I enjoyed the race. You know, I thought the penalty that Red Bull got for Max was ridiculous. 5 seconds at the end of the race, completely wrong. It should have been a stop and go penalty in the pits, no doubt about it. He took a car, he damaged another car, he risked lives of mechanics. Well, not he, his team damaged another car, risked the lives of a mechanic, caused a puncture on another car that then had to have another pit stop and lose position, and he got away with it and could have won the race. See, now I look at it as this. Say you're a Mercedes, right, and you're behind a Red Bull. Well, just release them into the path of the Red Bull. It's fine. It's fine. You're going to get 5 seconds. Your Mercedes is going to pull 10 seconds away, so we'll take the penalty. Let's just have cars crashing into each other in the pits. Let's do that until somebody gets badly hurt, and then they might wake up. Completely wrong. Completely wrong. So I watched the race with this feeling of tension that I want Lewis to win. I want Valtteri to be within the 5 seconds to make sure Red Bull don't get away with that and get on the podium. That created a tension for me because I could see Lewis's tyres were disintegrating at some speed, and I felt it feels unjust to me that Max is going to somehow get a podium through that sort of method, and I thought, no, it's not right for Red Bull. It's not right. So I'm glad in a way that it all worked out the way it did in the end. I think it could have been different, but it added some tension. So I enjoyed the race because obviously Lewis was running on destroyed tyres. But Monaco is Monaco. It's not about. It's a spectacle of Monaco rather than anything else. And do I enjoy the spectacle? Of course. I'll always enjoy the event that is Monaco, even if the racing itself isn't really all that much to it. I think racing at Monaco would be better if they had refueling, multiple pit stops, which is something that we don't have anymore. But refueling added so much, because if you had 2 pit stops, you could literally jump another car by light fueling them and then going for it, and change your strategy entirely. Whereas when it's 1 pit stop in a race, it's nothing. Do away with the practice sessions, give them 1 hour practice, that's it, that's all you get, 1 hour practice and qualifying, that's it. Then you start to see the real racing driver come through, because they're going to have cars that aren't correctly set up, they're all going to be all over the place. It's going to be great. Would love that. Would really add to it, would be awesome. Right, just going to get into this, and then I'm going to have a quick break, guys. I'll be straight back in a minute and then ready to do the race. So just get it set up. Actually, I might just leave it here. Actually, I'll have the countdown clock on there, and then I'll be back in a minute ready to race it. So Audi's a big fan of GT Sport there. That's great. So pretty quiet on the chat today. I was thought it might be busier during half term actually, but it's because perhaps because my audience is a bit older. Everybody's at work. Right. Let's see. Pretty quiet across the board actually. Even Facebook's pretty quiet today. So we've also got Assetto Corsa, haven't we? I've got to get on Assetto Corsa and have a drive on that. iRacing is very expensive. That's the problem with iRacing. It is very expensive. Gran Turismo, buy it, you've got it, haven't you? And that's really what's kind of limited iRacing to an extent over all these years, is the cost. And I think what's rather frustrating is that they've got so many tracks and cars, so many people have bought them, they must have got their money back on some of those tracks. You're buying tracks that they've had up there for like 8 years. Surely they've made their money back and they can make that a free track now. Using here the Thrustmaster TGT wheel with the Formula rim and a Thrustmaster LED display. So I like to mix it up with the wheels. Sometimes I'm using my Thrustmaster. I don't mix them all the time. I mix it sort of every 3 or 4 months. I change wheels just to give everybody a bit of exposure. But we don't have any sort of exclusivity with any wheel companies. I don't tend to use Logitech because I don't really like the current Logitech wheels. I mean, they're dated, aren't they? 10 years old. They haven't released a new wheel basically in 13 years. Logitech, loads of money to spend on advertising, nothing to spend on wheel development. It's a really odd company in that sense. Right, that's it from me. I'm going to be straight back, viewers, and then we'll be ready for the race. So I'm just going to be straight back. We got 5 minutes. I'll be back, viewers, in 4 to 5 minutes, and then we'll enjoy a bit of racing action. I'll be straight back. Leave you with this. Hello viewers. Right, so here we are then. Just got to get ready for the race. And good to go. Oh no, it's just stretching my legs, Phoenix. Stretching my legs. I'm quite tall, so I'm in this rig for long periods, and people don't realise, I think, sometimes when you're doing like 2 hours of driving in a driving seat, you just need a cup of tea and a break. For 13th on the grid, minor improvement. Let's see where we end up. The good thing is that we've got a 1:59.9 in us, I think. You know, maybe a late 1:59, so I think we can get to sort of like top 10, but I won't have the time. Do you know what I mean? I don't have the time to put in hundreds of laps trying to achieve all that. Brum, 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 brum. Brum, 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 brum. Brum, brum. Oh. Hold on. Overtaking is prohibited. Everybody overtakes. It's quite funny on Gran Turismo. When somebody goes off track, you get that kind of yellow flag thing, and it says overtaking is prohibited, and then everyone knows that's the best opportunity to overtake because they're ghosted, which is just a funny thing. Well, Phoenix, I don't know. I think there's a couple of reasons really. One is as I say, I'm quite tall and I just get squashed in here. I need to stretch my legs a bit, get away from the screen, chill out for a minute, and then come back and do a bit more racing. Epic driving action. So back on the grid. I'm not gonna. Right, I still haven't tested a standing start, so I'm going to do a standing start with no traction control this time. Let's just try it, see what happens. Normally I do well at the starts, but I know I've got to understand what people are doing. I get it. Got a barge there, so I had to slow down. As long as you can do, I've got to just let these guys by because it's all a bit of a mess. I just completely lost it there. Could have gone for it then, but then I thought no, let's keep our powder dry, do it for another day. Keep your powder dry. Do. Come on Revo, go faster. And I'm gonna lift because I know I'm not going to get past him here. Not enough speed to... Oh, he held me up quite a bit through there as well. And that's made me vulnerable now to the car behind. we are gaining. We are in a minor slipstream. Being a bit caught out here by some of the driving going on. Oh, blimey. Messed up. Okay, so we're up to 9th after a terrible start. On the power then. Key would probably say that was dirty air or something. This guy's going to get past me, I think. He's quicker than me for sure. He's gone into the back of me there. guy behind me made a mistake there, just getting a bit too edgy when there's a way you've got to race behind people, and it's sometimes you've got to give them space, you know. I've got a lot of understeer in that corner there, so he's going to gain on us again now. Slightly held up here. It's just difficult when someone's right where you're going to brake. It's going to end up being a bit messy. This is not what I wanted. Lifting a bit through there. Oh, this guy going for a late overtake there. If I turned in, he'd have just taken me out. So it gave me the sportsmanship down, which I find a bit strange, bearing in mind it was a lunge, but there you have it. It was better to not turn in all the way than just take the corner. Difficult when you've got guys ahead battling occasionally. It can, especially when you know that it's not like real racing drivers where you know they know sort of good sportsmanship. And what's the point in that? It's literally just blocking me. I don't like that sort of driving. You've made a mistake, you've gone off. But you know what, we're racing round, these guys are having a little battle. There you go. That's what you get. Wheel spin. Got wheel spin. Wheels coming off the old rig there. I should overtake this chap now. I'm always very slow through there. I just unfortunately don't have the feel for it at all. Still, you can see how when we're in traffic that affects the laps. You know, we lost a few seconds. Lost a bit of speed through there. Tyres do wear a bit, you know, it's just very subtle. You get more understeer, I guess. Change gear too early. Got away with it. I did there what Ericsson did entering the pits at Indy. Changed down the gear too early. Just luckily I was 5 or 10 mile an hour within the range. Just concentrating a bit here, viewers. Wheel spin city there. Lost a lot of time. So that guy's right on me now. That's the way to do it, I suppose. Just barge people out the way on the corner and then drive them off the track. Literally just push me off the track. Still. Come back after a 2-second penalty. There you go. I don't respect that kind of driving at all. I always think, if you've got space, go for it. But when someone's turning in and you've got to bash them out the way to get through the corner, that's you were never alongside. I'm not gonna take him out though, because I'm not that kind of a guy. But I'll make it close into the final corner. There we go. So slightly disappointing end to that. Yeah, there's no point. You can't go defensive for people when they just sort of, they're just going to use you as a sort of brake rest anyway. So whether there's space there or not, like you say, you just moved across, and if I hadn't have lifted, it would have just taken me out of the race entirely. And there's no penalty for them. Do you know what I mean? It's like, even if they got 2-second penalty, you're going to lose 15 seconds crashing into the barrier and getting back on again. So that was an interesting race. But you know what? Where did we start on the grid? 13th or something? So moved up 6 places against some of that quality of field. Not bad. Quite pleased with that. Yeah, reasonable result actually. So I think the only thing that lets us down is the qualifying. I think it's clear to see again there that I qualify where I do, but as soon as the race starts, I'm quite a bit quicker than some of the guys ahead. So I really just need to. It's my qualifying times. They just let me down. Yeah, that's a funny thing. A lot of people do. They think it's a clean pass. It's one of those things, really. But Remco reckons Ericsson hit him. I think Ericsson did when he got his penalty several times. But a crappy end to a crappy race. Not everybody had a good race then. But the guy in the lead, wow, what a time. 2-minute lap time, just in the race. Well, I knew he was there. I wouldn't say I left the space because he wouldn't have crashed into me if I because then once someone bashes you in this, you can't get on the power. Because what happens is, as soon as you get on the power and someone hits you, you get wheel spin and then you just spin out. So you have to back out the power and then get back on it. And by then you've given them a track position. It's just one of those things that when you're racing sort of people with proper racecraft, you can defend and position your car. But when you're racing people who are prepared to take you out, well, there's no point because they're just going to go into the back of you and send you off into the bushes. So quite often you have to pick your battles with people. So that's one of those things. Let's see. So that was a good result. Let's just see where that... I think that's it for the stream today. We've had a good couple of hours, haven't we, on here today? I'll just have a look at some other stuff before I go. Let's see. I think that's it. Right, hold on. Right, let's see, let's just do this and look at my stats. Look at the old kudos and look at it to see where we stand today. Well, a good job, well done. I had a big drop off on the old ranking stats recently, so it's been nice to have a couple of results and get back up there again. And yeah, we sort of finished slightly behind where we started the day, but I think given qualifying and being taken out in that first race, thanks Brandon, then you know, do it right. Actually this device actually screws to this wheel. It's actually designed, there's a plate that you remove and then you can just bolt it on there and it works. Only problem with it is it only works on PlayStation, which is a bit of a shame, has to be said, because I'd love to use it on the PC as well, but alas, on the PC it's dead as a doornail. I think that's a bit of a shame really, because I think the wheel works with the PC and PlayStation. Why can't this device? Which makes no sense whatsoever in terms of it. There's also a holder for this now, so you can attach it to your wheelbase and just have it sort of at the side of the wheel, which I'm probably going to see if I can get hold of at some point when I do the rallying, because obviously you're going to get a slightly different view, so probably if I have it sort of there, at least you'll be able to, I can change the camera so you can see it. And that was a bit of racing. Let's just have a quick look. We've got the FIA race tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to be around tomorrow, possibly not, but if I do jump on, it will be limited practice. We'll have a quick lap on this. I did a quick lap yesterday, just to familiarise myself with the course really, but I'm way off the pace. I mean way off the pace, and it's one of those tracks where Monza is deceptively simple, and when you get it right you're in the zone, but when you're not and you're losing time on each corner because the straights are so long, you lose tons of time. So this is a tricky one to actually get right. So braking too late there, struggling to get on the power, the car understeers a lot. So it's tricky, that final corner, you've got a absolutely top geezer. You know, it's a great wheel. On Gran Turismo you feel that rumble. It's amazing. Okay, I got that wrong, didn't I? So we've got to learn where the braking points are for this. So yeah, this is going to take some time. I might just do some practice tomorrow, guys. Jump on. So 1:49.8 is about a second slower than I'll actually need in qualifying. And my lap times are around a 150, 152 once I get up to speed. So I find my braking points, that is. And so at the moment I'm way off my braking points, and I'm all over the place there, aren't I? Got to find that braking point as well. It's hard to go from that other car to this one because they drive so differently. You've got to change your mindset to something completely different. Penalty. Let's just retry that lap then. Love the T300. Yeah, it does. The rumble you get, just it's a rumble. It's a bobble of the ground. So if you just stop for a minute, and It's funny, but it's like being in a real car for the first time, and it makes me think about when you go out for your first ever driving lesson, and you check your mirrors, all that business. Okay, we've got the car, and we're going to roll forward. Okay, and roll forward. Feel the biting point in the clutch. That's it. We're just going to roll forward with the biting point of the clutch, and you feel this bobbling of the ground under the car. Okay, oh, we're moving. Oh my God, we're moving forward. Oh God, this is scary. No, it's not really. And now we're going to engage first gear, and we're just going to a little bit of first gear, and we're just going to travel round in first gear in a circle. That's it. Nice. And then eventually you're away from there, and you're learning about the clutch, and when you're rolling on the clutch, and you're going to go into second gear, so on. Gently driving round. The open wheel is from Thrustmaster. You can actually get this rim. I actually didn't get this one separately. I got this with the PCTS wheel, and then I got the rim. So the Alpha 4C, yeah, it doesn't have enough straight line speed. So at the moment I'm not particularly keen on this car. I mean, in race trim, maybe I should just try it with traction control on and just see how it works. I mean, I don't know if the real racing car has traction control. I mean, that's one thing there's always a stigma with people that, oh, you're using traction control. No, you sort of use whatever suits you as a driver. You know, a lot of these cars have traction control in real life. You know, there's not a driver feathering the throttle trying to find out where the speed is, you know. And then at least that way you can just put your foot down on an exit and you don't have to worry anymore. So if you're sort of a CDE driver, this traction control off business, it just makes you slower. It really does, because half the time you're just struggling to find that grip basically. You can actually go over those curbs and attack it a bit more when you've got traction control on. You know, it's alright watching like super top racers online doing everything with traction control off, but they are the best. Do you know what I mean? When you're watching Key or some of the other top Super GT, I mean, they are top drivers. You know, I think a lot of people sometimes watch that and think, I've got to drive it the same way they are to be quick. And it takes time. You know, they've had a lot of practice on this game, but also racing in general. They've not just picked it up and had a go and suddenly been the best. You know, I've gone off the track there. So yeah, it's all about that. So yeah, these tracks take ages to learn. And look at me, you know, I struggle over one lap. I always have done, really. It's never been my forte, braking 2-litre there. You just got to learn. You just got to learn each corner, you know, each corner. I mean, can you drive the track? Yeah, sure. Do you know where the braking points are? No, not really. You've got to learn where the braking points are. And then it starts to come together. Then you brake a little bit later and you get on the power a little bit earlier and all that sort of stuff. Let's just try this in second for a minute. Did a short shift there, but it's because I was impatient. And this is with traction control on. It's always a bit slow with traction control on. But you say to yourself, well, if I can just put in a reasonable pace, then when it comes to the race, I can at least protect my tyres. That was a bit rugged there, wasn't it? Just a bit messy on the exit. You really want to attack that corner because you want to be getting on the power the moment you're sort of into the apex. This is an early braking here, so I got it slightly better then, but it really depends on the track and the car and stuff like that. I mean, if I want to put a good time in, I'll turn off traction control, because I'm braking too late there. Don't have a braking point. See, traction control didn't save me there. If I had put my foot down, the car would have spun out. So that's something just to remember, is it doesn't save you entirely unless you've got it really high. Look at that, that was only a few tenths off of my best time. Let's take it down to 0 now to see where we are. Oh, I've oversteered. Got it wrong into the corner. Understeered, should I say. Oh, goodness. So that's a good bit of learning there. A little break for a minute, actually. Finish off my tea. It's a bit cold now, but I'll finish off my tea. And then I'll probably call it a day, actually. It's been some good racing. Shame I'm not taken out of that earlier race, because I think that would have helped me with the old points. But either way, all's well that ends well. And it's very difficult to race people these days. But you've got to remember, not everybody has, as I say, sort of any racecraft or sportsmanship in that sense. So you've always just got to go out there, and that's why early in those laps I was quicker than a lot of the other drivers, but I thought, let's just let them go ahead. And I think we fell down to 15th place and ended up 6th in that race, because I said there's no point going ahead. We've got to wait till some of these guys sort themselves out over 5 laps before you can actually start to go for it. And even then, you'll see me sitting behind drivers more now than I used to, simply because there's so much grief to overtaking people. You know, sometimes you just got to hang back and say, fine. If it's FIA races, it's different, because it's a bit more serious to an extent, and everybody wants to go for it a bit more. But Monza lap is for FIA Nations Cup this week, so still a lot of practice to do there. When we look at the leaderboard, everyone's at a 146, so I'm still quite a long way off. I've got to find some seconds there for sure. That's not impossible. I think, but I don't know if I'll have time between now and then. I won't have any practice time between now and the race, hardly. I'm out tomorrow, so busy day tomorrow. See if I get back on, I'll just have a go, because why not? There's points on the board. It's a rolling start, which is always sensible. Good weather, of course, as always. And yeah, what do we got? Tyre wear wise, I think, 26 times tyre wear. I mean, that, well, basically it's not going to be a pit stop, really, for tyres at least. I don't know if fuel consumption's going to last, but I mean, that looks to me like there's going to be no pit stop, because your hard tyres will last. So yeah, the open wheel racing has been really bad. I had a race in Super Formula the other day, and all 3 FIA races I just got completely taken out on. It was the worst racing I've ever had, and it's a shame, because I think there's got to be something that they're going to have to look at to see. There's a couple of big problems with the penalty system. Is one, people just contacting other players and getting away with it, barging them off, and the second thing is when you're running like if somebody's doing a 2-stop strategy or 1-stop strategy, and the other person's going all the way through the race without stopping, you've got to brake earlier because your tyres are really worn. So the penalty system says you're what do you call it? Test braking other people, brake testing other people, and you're not. It's just the fact your tyres are gone, and the system doesn't take that into account. So it gives you a sportsmanship down. So I try not to run too many of those now, because it's just not worth it. Just for sportsmanship, you may as well pit. Well, Hugo, it all depends on the cars. I mean, a lot of these cars use traction control in real life. So a lot of the time in the game, people turn traction control off when the real cars have them. Secondly, I think that depends who you are. I think you just play with what suits you. If it's fair and legal, then do it. I mean, you can use traction control. It's not quicker, but you can use it for sure. So yeah, I've had some terrible races. I've not had much luck with my penalties in races. I had a penalty in my race the other day when I came second. 4-second penalty for somebody going in the back of me, and it's just, that was it. He went in the back of me, then he touched the wall, and and then that was it. Gave me a 4-second penalty and sent me to 10th from second, and then I got back up to second again, but that was it. Unfortunately, it was one of those things. Brilliant top man, top geezer. Glad you like it. Does the THA work without a clutch on Gran Turismo? That's a good question. I haven't tested it, Russo, so I really couldn't say. I don't get to use the gear stick that often. No, I will have the handbrake here at some point, so you'll see that sort of here somewhere. Not here, but here. So yeah, I like to be near the front, but you know, as I say, it's when you're comparing, when it's like in this race, you know, I had A+ racers, and you're just not going to beat the A+ guys. I mean, they're on here so much, you know, it's unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? I just don't have the want to be as good as them either, you know, because to get that good, you need to put in serious practice, and I won't do that. I just won't do like the 100 laps a week of extra practice. Don't want to do that. I want to play other games, try other things out. There's plenty of other games for me to try out there, so you know, maybe a bit more Sonic Racing for me, just to chill out at some point. But this has been good today, and then like you say, we've got just to focus on all the other new games that are coming through as well. So nice to see some of you watching during the day. I know normally my streams are in the evening, but I think people have asked me to get into a stream sort of times every week. It's been very difficult arranging times, but if I do, they will be during the day, the streams, as far as times, simply because I can't always arrange them in the evenings. And that's it, I think, for now. Other than that, yeah, what have we got here? Yeah, I don't know, Top Geese, I'm deciding what to do on that, whether I create another tag. I'm just having some discussions about it, and once I've got a confirmation, then we'll decide what we're going to do on the tag front and all that. But that's it for now. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and yeah, like and subscribe, let people know what we do as well, because it would be good to get some more subscribers. We always struggle with subscribers. It's something we've never been very lucky with on the channel. You know, we've barely had any for a while, so it's hard work. And well, that's it, Hugo. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm playing this. I've got so many other games I'm playing. You know, I just don't want to get fixated on one game just to get better at it. When I can race this okay, I'm not bad at it. I'm not best in the world, but I'm all right. You know, when I want to be, I'm a top 50 UK player. It's fine for me, especially given the fact I'm a part-time player. So yeah, I mean, a lot of my time's spent on other things. I might do a stream on F1 at some point. I was meant to do one today. But have a rest now. That's it from me for now, viewers. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and there'll be more from me very soon.